Hey, yo, what's up, viewers? As Crypto Love said, Tyler of Chico Crypto. I'm here with Charlie Revett of NeoAuth, part of the city of Zion. So, Charlie, first question is, explain NeoAuth DApp to people who have no idea what it is.
So NeoAuth is a pretty simple DApp. It just allows anyone wanting to log into a web or mobile application to use their public wallet instead of an email and password. So it's using that really secure public key cryptography that we use to actually send payments, but using it for a login mechanism instead. So you can kind of see it as it's an easy way to explain as OAuth. So maybe you see email, password, login with Facebook, login with Google, and login with Neo.
Really? Yeah. So is it also using smart contracts as well as cryptography?
Yeah, so there's a pretty simple, like 100-line smart contract that sits in the middle of the tech stack, and that's just storing the proof of login within the blockchain, so that applications outside of the blockchain can refer back to it to see that that person is who they say they are, and actually that they've proved that they've logged in.
Exactly. Yeah. So could you explain how NeoAuth came about? I know from City of Zion it's pretty much started, so could you explain that for the viewers?
So City of Zion had the awesome idea of running some DApp competitions. So these are competitions aimed at bringing new people into the ecosystem and actually funding those projects. So you get over 1,000 gas for winning. So I thought this was a great opportunity to try something new, learn how to do smart contracts within the Neo ecosystem. That was in September. It kind of sparked my interest, and I wanted to create quite an approachable decentralized application, and that was September. We then finished the project in November and then got COZ funding in December.
Wow. Yeah. So City of Zion, they're running another DApp competition. So any viewers out there who are looking to build a DApp, explain to them the process of how you went through that.
So I think first you just need to think small. We took a really simple concept like logging in and tried to break it down to its easiest and most understandable components, and then apply that to the Neo ecosystem. Don't try and go too big, because you'll just get stuck and you'll kind of get disinterested in it, because there's a lot to learn when you first come to the space. So think of something simple, and then if you're really quick, you might be able to build upon it later on. And maybe think about something that's not just towards the crypto community. Like NeoAuth is something that anyone could use if they've got a website. So I try and don't just kind of be aiming for the people that you hang out with. Try and think a little bit bigger.
Larger scale, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
And use community resources, because that's what, the blockchain is. It's a decentralized consensus model. So decentralizing your work is going to be very, very beneficial, and using the community members to get it done.
Yeah, completely. I think that's one of the big USPs of COZ, and also really Neo, is how we've managed to have this decentralized workforce, and we're really pushing people to work in their own time and be rewarded fairly when you actually get something done. So that's the whole thing around this. Like, just submit your project when you've actually done it. We don't really want to hear about it until you've finished it.
Until it's actually a working product.
Exactly, yeah. So we had some really good entries last time. There's another one going on now, and then there's the actual Neo official one, which is backed by Microsoft, which has got even bigger prizes. So anyone that wins the COZ one is placed really well to enter that one as well.
Wow, nice. Yes. So NeoAuth is working, as we just explained. It's a working product right now. Yeah. Could you tell viewers how they could start using it?
So just head over to neoauth.org. There's some really simple SDKs to use, and you have to run a NeoAuth node or use one of the ones which are already set up. As this is kind of still quite like a young project, this is only 4 months old, there's definitely still going to be some teething problems there. But as I've said before, and what I said in my talk, we always aim this to be both a very simple DApp for developers to understand, so it's a great opportunity to see an end-to-end solution, but also businesses to understand if they want to integrate with the Neo blockchain.
Nice. So let's talk about some businesses. Yeah. Do you have any businesses using it right now, or are there any businesses that may be looking to use it in the future?
So I think no. At the moment, no, because most of my time is actually being spent on development. I want to get the product a little bit more polished before I go out and try and push it into kind of the public eye. There has been some great opportunities within COZ already, which is awesome because there's so many projects in this ecosystem, and it's such a friendly community that people are jumping on this and they want to start integrating with NeoAuth. So you'll soon see it within the Ozone mobile wallet. Mobile applications for Android.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
So they're going to put it in, so that will really increase the usability of it. Some of the COZ projects really want to use it as well. So even though I'm aiming this at kind of outside the blockchain space as well, of course, the first people to use it are going to be the early adopters. Yeah.
And it's a perfect use case because, I mean, with a simple password, guess what? That's easy to crack.
Yeah.
So NeoAuth is basically solving that problem because guess what? It's tied to your public address, and only you can use that.
And I think you get the cool thing of actually being able to quickly create new identities. So yes, you'll have your identity, your wallet, which will have 100 Neo in it, and you don't want people to know what that is. But don't log in with that one. Create a new one, maybe create 5 new ones. One which is for personal logins, one which is for work logins, one which is for social logins, and you can start to create identities for different parts of the web. And you can't really do that with email at the moment. It's still a bit fragmented. So it's one of the key points that the community's really picked up and thought, oh, that's quite a cool thing.
Do you see this DApp ever evolving into something more, like besides just passwords? Do you see it evolving into something else?
Yeah, definitely. So a lot of people have come like, oh, that's a really good idea, but what if this? So KYC, people were saying, oh, it'd be really cool if you could log in with KYC, or if you could log in with a digital identity. Digital identity is not an easy thing to do. Like, a bunch of companies are trying to do it, and they've already been trying to do it on the Ethereum blockchain. So I, for one, am definitely not going to try and achieve that on my own with my small team. I'm going to I want to make it applicable to allow other people to use NeoAuth within their
own.
Yeah, exactly. So you can kind of see it as this glue that's going to be spread.
Going to help bind the ecosystem together.
Exactly, yeah. So slowly it's going to be used in more and more places. And because it's a simple, very rigid application that is secure, it doesn't really need to achieve massive things. It can just be used in a number of ways.
Exactly. So one thing I'm got a question about is NeoAuth nodes. You said you had to run one of those if you were to use it. Could you explain NeoAuth nodes and how someone at home would start one?
So it's pretty simple. If you understand how to use Docker, which is a way of containerizing an application, it's super simple. If not, Docker is pretty easy to learn because it's a very well documented technology now. We're also going to release a serverless one. Someone within the community has rewritten the Golang version into JavaScript, which is really cool. It's kind of in the faith of COZ. But these are nodes that the businesses actually communicate with to make actions onto the Neo blockchain. So it's maybe a kind of a gateway. And of course, we don't want to be the only people running these, so we want people within the community to be running these. We're probably going to run some kind of private, public token sale towards the end of the year. Super low cap. We don't want to raise like 10 million or something like that. Yeah. And use that as a way to incentivize people to actually run these nodes.
Yes, that's a great idea because, I mean, one thing people like is money.
Exactly, yeah. It's a super easy way to award it. We want to do some interesting things like the more reliable your node is, the more money you get.
Wow.
The longer that you run your node, the more money you get. So maybe in the first month you're getting X, but by 2 years or a year, you're getting 10x every single day. So we want to play some cool economics into that and see what we can do with an interesting token sale.
Nice. And so you said that was planned hopefully by the end of the year?
Yeah, so we want to, towards the end of the year, we want to wait and see what Next comes out with because I think they're going to improve the ISO kind of landscape for Neo a lot when they start bringing out their products towards the middle of the year. So. And also, we've got a bunch of work to do, and we don't want to jump into an ICO. Kind of what COZ is all about is delivering first and then asking for award later. So we want to do that the same way with our ICO.
I think that's a perfect thing. I mean, have a product first before you, right? Or at least an idea before you start asking for funds and getting things.
Yeah, completely. I'd want actual customers. I want integrations. I want it to be around the ecosystem and people to really understand it before we even really start properly going after an ICO and start talking about it. I didn't really publicize it at all in my talk this year because I imagine if I'm back next year for DevCon 2, I'll be publicizing it a lot more in that one.
A lot more.
Yeah.
So what businesses besides crypto do you see NeoAuth being used for the most? Like what industries?
I think the people who have actually come about and asked about it have been those who are really interested in digital identity. So there's a healthcare startup who are really interested in using it, but they wanted some element of digital identity. And the same was a company that had looked at Civic as well. And so I think we're missing that key. So hopefully by the end of the year, we can get that kind of integration with another project which is specializing in digital identity.
So if you had to give me an estimation regarding when we could go into Facebook and say, sign in with Neo, when do you think that could happen?
I think the general Neo ecosystem needs to get a little bit bigger.
A little bit more robust.
Yeah. So before we can start pushing that. And of course, we've got issues like login times are still 15 seconds. So we want to start doing off-chain solutions so we can get instantaneous logins. So I think that's pretty far off, but hopefully we'll see it around the web, maybe in some people who are early adopters. And I think the great thing about that is you're spreading the word of Neo by just having it on the login page everywhere.
Yeah.
Maybe people aren't using it, but they're seeing the name.
Exactly. So another question I like to ask every person I've interviewed is, how did you first get into crypto? Like, tell me the first time you heard about Bitcoin or Litecoin, Ethereum.
Yeah. I was working at IBM, internship when I was, I think, 17 or 18, and one of my friends also on the internship had printed off the Bitcoin white paper and handed it to me. So that was kind of my first intro. The second intro was actually the Dogecoin subreddit.
Oh, really? Doge? Yeah. I remember those days.
I just think it's an awesome community, and it's still actually
it's
one
still
of the best.
It's still very active, and they still have their, what is it, Shiba Inu? Yeah. It's all over the place, which I think is amazing. They've created it was a joke token, of course, but they've created something out of that joke, which is amazing.
And I think that really shows the power of community, and that's what we're focusing here on at COZ as well. We've proven that you can get a coin into nearly the top 5, really with a really strong community, better than anyone else in the blockchain space.
Exactly. Well, any last viewers regarding COZ and NeoAuth for?
I think just get involved with COZ. It's such a great opportunity, and it's such a welcoming community as well. So just hit us up on Discord. Everyone's there to chat and kind of be welcomed. So.
Yeah, viewers, check them out on Discord. Hit them up if you have any questions. I'm going to be sending it over to O3.